Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. Colin Farrell is my favorite Penguin. Zoe Kravitz is my favorite Catwoman. Paul Dano is my favorite Riddler. Not that there was much competition. Uh, the action in the Batman is the most brutal, visceral, hand-to-hand combat we've ever seen in a Batman movie. The detective mystery thriller noir genre that this Batman movie wades through is the best tone that a Batman movie has ever had. And The Batman is my favorite Batman movie. Now, notice how I say that it is my favorite Batman movie, and notice how I am not claiming that it is the best Batman movie. Truth be told, I have still not decided if I think it is a quote-unquote better movie than, like, The Dark Knight, right? But I can say that it is my personal favorite Batman movie. Now, let me actually give you some history on my feelings towards the Batman. Or not the Batman, but Batman in general. Like, Batman movies. I've never been 100% satisfied with one. And that's mainly because I don't feel like any Batman directors have ever really understood the character of Batman. Like, and listen, I'm not a comics reader. This is just my feelings based on, like, you know, like cartoons and video games, right? So, I mean, that's really where my experience with Batman has come from. But I've always felt like Batman is who the character is. And Bruce Wayne is the mask that Batman puts on to hide his identity. And I don't think Tim Burton understood that. I mean, let's be real. Batman isn't even a character in the Tim Burton movies. Like, those movies are really just Tim Burton fever dreams, and there's just a Batman label placed on them, right? And those movies are fine and valid in their own way. You know, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I actually like Batman Forever. I think it's probably the most Batman movie out of the Burton Schumacher era. But, you know, obviously those movies are what they are, you know. Christopher Nolan comes in. I like those movies. Really like those movies. I don't feel like he really understood it either, right? Like, you really had, like, 3 Batmen in there, right? Like, you have Bruce Wayne when he's kind of out in public and he is putting the Bruce Wayne mask that I'm talking about. But then you have, like, Bruce Wayne who's still really Bruce Wayne when he's just, like, alone with Alfred or with Rachel, right? And then you have Batman as he feels like another character. And it's like, I don't think Christopher Nolan really got it either. But Matt Reeves, he gets it. Because believe me when I tell you that Matt Reeves, the Batman, is a Batman movie. This is the first time I've watched a Batman movie and gone, oh my gosh, I am, like, this is Batman. I am watching Batman fully realized, and it was amazing. And so that I want to say that up front, because do I have some issues with this movie? Sure. And to be clear, I've only seen it once. I just saw it last night. I feel like I want to watch it again to really finalize my thoughts on this, you know, because I have some issues, but I feel like maybe if I watch it again, those issues won't be as, maybe I'll feel better about them. I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me, at least. Like, those issues are so minor that I have with the movie because of just how perfectly realized Batman finally is in this movie. I mean, like, Robert Pattinson, he's absolutely incredible in the movie. And, you know, I've seen some criticisms that, like, oh well, he's not a very good Bruce Wayne. He's or Bruce Wayne. There's not enough of him. He's not. He feels like I've seen this as a criticism of like Bruce Wayne just feels like Batman even when he doesn't have the cowl on. I'm like, no, that's good. That's good. I I want like when Batman is alone in the Batcave, he should still be Batman, right? Because Batman is who he is. And Robert Pattinson plays this perfectly. And what I love about this movie is that it's early on in Batman's career. So he still hasn't figured out that he needs the Bruce Wayne mask, right? He hasn't figured that out. So and I don't want to get this isn't spoilery because okay, I may I don't think this is a spoiler. To say just say that like Bruce Wayne in this movie is he's not like the charming playboy philanthropist that is the mask that he eventually puts on. He hasn't gotten to that point. And so he pretty much always feels like Batman. And it's absolutely incredible and Robert Pattinson plays it incredibly. And the most impressive thing about this is that because of that, he really doesn't have much lines of dialogue. Like there's really not a ton of him talking. He conveys all of his emotions just through his performance. And another thing about this movie, about like 80% of it, I want to say, he's in the batsuit. And so he's just conveying everything with his eyes and just, like the his mouth and what's, the lower part of his face. And he's absolutely incredible in this. I mean, oh my God. And then you get to Zoe Kravitz. She's awesome in this as well. I mean, like I don't want to get too deep into her story, because it's definitely harder to talk about it, without going into spoilers. But like, I've seen some people complain about what they do with her character. I personally don't agree with those complaints. I think it's great. And yeah, Zoe Kravitz is amazing. Her chemistry with Robert Pattinson is amazing. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, he's completely unrecognizable under the makeup. And yeah, he was amazing as well. I think Paul Dano as the Riddler. There's some things that I'm a bit conflicted about right now, that I'm not going to get into, but overall, Paul Dano is very good in this, and yeah, I'm just a bit conflicted on certain things, and I want to watch the movie again to find out exactly how I feel about that. Not that I could get into it in this movie either way, but I mean, yeah, and I mean, I didn't mention Andy Serkis as Alfred, but he is also really good as Alfred. I just don't think there's really enough of him in there to really make like a lasting impression. But that's I mean that's the thing that I want to get across in a spoiler-free review. This is the first time that I've ever felt like I am watching Batman in live action. Like this is Batman. And the other aspect about it is, yes, he's finally a detective, right? The world's greatest detective is actually doing some detective work. And I absolutely love that about it. I mean that's one of the things, right? It is a 2-hour and 55-minute movie, and it's long, and it definitely feels long, but it's a slow burn, and I actually do think it's really well paced. Like I was never bored watching it. Like I never felt like my time was being wasted because I always felt like there was like what was happening on the screen was important, and so. And so yeah, I personally think that it is a very well paced movie, and like I was never bored. But I mean, yeah, it obviously is a long movie. And I mean, yeah, the action. I will say, I would have liked a little more of it. I don't think there was enough, but what was there was incredible. I mean, the Batmobile chase that you see in the trailers is absolutely incredible, and apparently a lot of that is also like practical, or I think most if not all of it is practical, which is amazing. And I mean, yeah, that is as good as it possibly gets. I just the I it's just I love it. It is my favorite Batman movie. Again, is it the best Batman movie? Like, is it just the best when you're just judging it as a film? I really do need to watch it again to really finalize my thoughts. But as of right now, I mean, there's enough here that it's it's the Batman that I have never really felt like I've seen on the big screen. Um, and yeah, I guess yeah. And to just like one other criticism that I've seen some people have, I've heard people say that they don't like the third act, and I I've heard criticisms that I'm not going to get into specifically, but I definitely disagree. Like the third act, I mean, there's something that happens in it that that just sent chills all around my body. I almost started crying as it was happening, and I'm like, I've heard people don't like it, and I'm like, man, I just cannot relate. But I don't know. I guess I don't want to talk about that too much, just because spoiler. I don't want to get into spoilers, but needless to say, I absolutely love this movie. Like, even if it's not like a perfect movie, it's the Batman movie that I have always wanted to see, that I've never felt like I've really gotten in other Batman movies. And I absolutely adore it. And like, yeah, as far as like the spin-off shows, it's like, I mean, yeah, like I definitely do want to watch this Penguin spin-off show. Like they sold me on that character. They've been rumored, there's a rumored Catwoman show. I would absolutely watch a Catwoman spin-off show. Arkham Asylum, that one I'm still a bit iffy on, I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know that I necessarily want an Arkham Asylum show, but it could be interesting, and yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. But I mean, yeah, honestly, like there was one scene in this movie that I think I straight up just did not work for me. Again, it is another thing where it's like maybe I'll rewatch the movie and I will and I'll like and I'll be into it, and no spoilers, but if you've seen the movie, it's like the shocking scene. And I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that, where it's like, "Oh, this is happening. Whoa." I'm not sure I like that scene. I'm not sure that scene was necessary. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you do. But but yeah, I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, like, I forgot to talk about the bat suit. I absolutely loved this bat suit, man. It's one of those things where it's like it feels like like every few seconds I noticed something different about it and went like, "Oh, that's awesome." And every time he does something new with it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool." And it's the one that, you know, looks the most comfortable to wear. The actor, he was actually able to move around in it, and he was able to, feels like act properly in it, and it looked like it was the easiest one to fight in because the fights were, whereas in other Batman movies, the fights have been like relatively slow and meandering and not very well choreographed. It really did feel like, whether it be Robert Pattinson or a stunt double, he was really able to move in this suit, and it's incredible. Like, yeah, again, I guess, yeah, I don't want to get too much into it just because I don't want to ruin things for you, but yeah, at this point I'm rambling. I absolutely adored this movie. I yeah, it's I that it's a good movie. Bye.